Hey guys, my name is Vince Gabriele, and today I'm going to talk to you about newspaper marketing. Now, you might be thinking, all right, is this video from 1984? Like, why is this guy talking to us about newspaper marketing? And I'm only going to share it with you because it's working really, really well. And that's kind of what I do is I share what works in marketing really, really effectively for my business, and then in turn I help you do it too. So there's a couple things with newspaper marketing, and I do get a lot of questions about it. Most of the time, the question is, should I do it or should I not do it? Is it a waste of money? Is it a waste of time to do it? And there's a couple different answers to that, okay? And the first thing is, not all publications are created equal. Now, if you think that you going and marketing your local gym in the New York Times or in like the really, really big newspaper, that's probably not going to suit you really well. The reason being is that you're just, there's so many readers that are going to read that aren't in your geographic area. And typically for us that own gyms, right, we want people within a 10 to 15 minute radius drive time to come into our businesses, right? So we want to find publications where the readership is mostly hyper local. And so let me tell you the story about how I quickly found the publication that the newspaper that I market in that pretty much has changed the game for us and launched a whole new separate business. So I had just moved into my new house and we got the mail, and in the mail was a newspaper that looked like this. I'm like, well, that's interesting. I've never seen that before. It's just like a newspaper that is like old school from the 80s, right? And the cool thing was, usually newspapers had to come and they had to go to the end of the driveway, and you had to go to the end of the driveway to get it. And this one didn't come in the end of the driveway. This one came right into my mailbox. I thought that was interesting because it came right into the house. A lot of times newspapers don't even make it into the house. So I get this newspaper, and on the front of it, it says, this one doesn't say it, but mine said, this one says Westfield Monthly, but this one, the cover of mine said Berkeley Heights Community News or something like that, the name of my town, right? And so what you're seeing is a hyper local newspaper where only the people in my direct town, which is also the direct town my gym is in, are going to get this newspaper, right? And also what you do is you look through it and you look like, okay, well, what type of stuff is in here? Well, here's the thing. Annual holiday food delivery project, right? Stuff about kids and kids, taking pictures at the local, dog adoption place, right? There's all kinds of super stuff. It's just like super local. And guess what happens when it's super local? People read it. And that is the most important part. And what you want to do is find local newspapers that people actually read. Now, this is a very, very important point. What you need to do is you need to find the publication and you need to ask your current clients, do you read this? So I got this newspaper and I just posted an email and posted a post in my private Facebook group, and I said, hey guys, do you read this newspaper? Comment after comment. Yes, I read this newspaper. Yes, I read this newspaper. Yes, I read this newspaper. So I was like, all right, I'm going to market it. So that's your first step in newspaper marketing, is deciding on which publication you decide to use based on, does your current target market actually read it? And if your current target market actually reads it, or at least looks at it and glances through it, then it is a good decision for you to potentially market it, right? So that is kind of step number one, is finding the right publication. I love to use hyper local, really town-based community news stuff that your target market is currently reading, okay? So that is number one. Number two is the style of how you should market in this publications. Now, let me share something with you of what most people do, and it's completely wrong, and it's why people say, don't waste your money, don't waste your time marketing in the newspaper. And the reason is because 99% of people that market in the newspaper follow a method called branding, right? And the branding is essentially, they go in there and they say, all right, I'm going to put an ad in the newspaper. And what do? Put their logo in there, put the phone do in there, and I pulled one up here, and I was trying to make sure I didn't embarrass anybody, because there is possible someone that's watching this whose ad I could pick apart. So I'm taking a chance here that the Jersey Landscape and Garden Supply Company is not going to come after me by telling them they have terrible marketing. But hey, if you work for Jersey Landscaping and Garden Supply and you happen to see this ad, you can come to me and I'll help you correct this ad for free. It's on me. Okay, but they put the name, of the business on the top, and it's just like, well, who cares? Let's let the name of the business. Most of the time, what they do is they put their logo on top, which is even worse, right? And then it says big letters here, the phone number and the address, and then the hours of operation, and then it has all the stuff that they sell and the prices of the stuff they sell, and then it's got a cool picture down here, more stuff that they do. But when you see this, you're like, all right, cool, it's an ad. And there's nothing really intriguing me about this. There's nothing interesting. There's nothing capturing my attention. It's just honestly bad marketing. And what it is, it's mimicking what big businesses do. It's mimicking what the problem is this is all about them. This is all about the business. And people don't care about the business. What they care about is themselves and their problems getting solved. That's marketing. This isn't marketing. This is branding, and this should be done by big companies like Coca-Cola and McDonald's and stuff that have endless budgets and things like that. They can afford to do that. The McDonald's can afford to put an M anywhere in the world, and people will come and go eat burgers, right? But you and I can't afford to do that, so we need to do it a better way. So the big mistake is following this branding methodology that's about you, and you'll see some of the ones that I've posted. A lot of times people would put big pictures of themselves, and I'm the guy, and stuff like that. And it's a lot of branding hogwash, and it's big mistakes, and that's where people waste money when they do bad marketing, right? So I apologize, Jersey Landscape and Garden Supply, but come to me, I can help you fix your newspapers. Right, so what should we do, right? So that's like what not to do. You're like, all right, Vince, what should we do? Well, let me tell you in this newspaper what actually people read. They read the articles. They go through and they find, oh, okay, network, help vets, family lives lives better. And then there's a picture, and then there's copy, and then that is what people read. What they do is when they get to the Jersey, they ignore. They read, they ignore, right? They ignore, they read, okay? And what you want to get is read. You don't want to be ignored. So if you want to do this the right way, you want to do it in a way that you're going to get read. So what should you do? Well, your ad should look like an article. Your ad should look like an article. Let me show you one. This is something that I paid. Now, Dan, can they see that pretty well? No? All right, well, we need to zoom in or something. Like, I don't know what we need to do. But zoom in, and you can kind of see that down a little lower. Dan, thank you. All right, got my camera guy. All right. There. And all it is it looks like an article. Right? And it's a big long copy, and there's not a lot of pictures and everything like that. But what it's doing is it's telling a story, right? And then it's giving them very clear calls to action on what to do. Right? So we're following what's called a direct response marketing, which essentially, if you really want me to make this simple for you, what direct response is it's a headline that captures attention. It's some kind of a story that draws them in and makes them interested. And then there's a call to action, right? Meaning there's something for them to do. Putting your phone number in your website is not a call to action. That is just putting your contact information. A call to action will say, hey, for a free fitness and nutrition consultation, scan this QR code, which I'll talk about in a second here, for more information. Or for a free thing, or you're giving them something to do. So if you want to sum up direct response, it's a headline, it's a story, and it's a call to action. And all of your marketing in the newspaper should follow that. And I'll show you some different examples today. So that's number 2, is we're following this direct response model, right, over this branding methodology. Number 3 is when you want them to respond, what should you use? Now, I'm going to give you a little tactic here that I think is going to be really helpful for you, okay? One thing you want to do is crystal clear clarity. Now, Dan, if we need to move up, we can, but crystal clear clarity on what they need to do. So crystal clear clarity on the call to action. So you can see, and Dan, can they see this? Okay. So at the bottom of this, I've said, all right, this program specifically starts on March 21st. And on the bottom, it says step 1, step 2, step 3. So I give them 3 things to do. So I'm making it very clear and simple. Step 1 is scan the QR code. Now, QR codes I really, really like for print marketing. So this is a tactical thing, but if you're going to do print marketing, I would use a QR code, right? And there's a couple different things. You can drive the QR code to a landing page, or you can make the QR code go to like a text that auto-populates. That gets a little confusing, but it's also very, very effective. But let's just say QR code, you want them to scan it. That's been the most effective way to drive it. And then step 2 is basically you tell them what to do once they get to the QR code. And then step 3 is what would happen next, right? So that's number 3, is making it clear and simple and easy on what they need to do with the call to action using a QR code. I think that will be a very, very clear step for you as well. Number 4, I think we're on number 4, is if you're gonna market in the newspaper, do not, let me find one. Do not take out, this is like, all right, I'm gonna bust on someone right here, okay? But check this out. Wood floors. Like, it's a business card size wood floors, and all it says is wood floors, stain, carpet and rugs, little website, division of this. Oh, they take Visa and MasterCard too. Well, as long as they take Visa and MasterCard, I'm going to get my wood floors from these guys. All right? I mean, it's complete. But the biggest problem, not the ad's terrible, but the biggest problem is this. It's the size of the ad. Okay? Here's my biggest piece of advice. Go big or go home. Full page, no page. You hear me? Full page or no page. All right? Go get it. Every one of the ads that I've done, from start to finish, if you come over here, and again, I don't know if you can zoom in and see all these here, but all of these, every one I've done has been full page. Now these are all the ones that I've done. I mean, I got a whole room full of these over the course of how many years I've been doing this, right? And here's the thing, I wouldn't do it if I didn't know it worked, okay? Which is the last point I'm gonna get to in a second here. But the reality is full page or no page. Go big or go home. And preferably what I like, and this is a tip from Gary Halbert, what I like is back cover. You'll see a lot of our ads are on the back cover of the newspaper. Actually, this one is a really cool one. We got this one off the Super Bowl idea. I don't know if you saw the Super Bowl, but you saw that there was an ad with just a QR code floating around, and all we did was a big headline with a QR code, and that's all they did. But this is back page. Here's the front page. This is back page. And the reason why I like the back page is because back page, even if they never open the newspaper, they're still going to probably see the front page and the back page. And a lot of times the front page can get really expensive and maybe not even be available, but the back page is actually almost always available, depending if you ask for it, and it's usually not that more expensive. But we've had a lot of success with these full page ads. So the final thing I wanted to get to is this, and if you want to do this and you don't want to waste money, what you got to do is you got to know if it's working or not. Okay, so you've got to have a way to track results. Okay, if you don't have a way to track results, then don't bother marketing in the newspaper, right? So you can track results by how many scans to the QR code, and then tracking how many of those scans opted into your landing page, and then how many of those landing page opt-ins eventually bought, right? You want to have that information, because if you don't have that information, you're not going to know if this is a good investment or not. So personally, I spent last year alone $36,000 on this newspaper. We spent $3,000 a month, and we advertised in multiple different things, and we made a very, very, very large multiple. In fact, we launched our new sports performance business called Great Athlete Performance using just newspaper ads. It's the only marketing we did was the newspaper. And the company was a multiple six-figure company in the first year, all based on the marketing of this newspaper. Okay? So this can work, this will work, pending you choose the right publication, pending you follow the right type of marketing with a direct response over a branding, pending you have the right calls to action, pending you track it to make sure that you have a way to measure the success and results. And I'll say this last thing too. You want to negotiate these rates, right? Don't just say, oh, well, they want me to sign up for 24 months and they're charging me $5,000 a month for 24 months. It's like, no, this is all up for negotiation. So my advice to you is like, hey, I want to try this first, and just negotiate with them. Say, I want to try one ad and I'm going to do a full page and I'll pay for it. But I want to just see, what the return is like from there. So test it first, see how it goes, and then decide. I didn't commit to anything long term before I knew it really worked and I could get a consistent investment, my money back. And that's what I look at. I look at this as an investment more than an expense, because I know I can invest X amount in these newspapers and I'm going to get X amount return. But you only know that if you can test it and track the results. So, I know that was a lot. I dumped a lot on you. Hopefully you understand a little more about newspapers. Hey, you might not have a good newspaper in your area, and maybe you shouldn't do it. Maybe this is not for you. But if you can find a good local, hyper-local newspaper, and you can follow some of these principles of marketing that I taught you here today, I say you give it a shot. Right? While everyone else is on Facebook, maybe you need to get in the newspaper. Work for this guy. What I'd like to finish is, if you would like more information on marketing from me, I wrote a book called The Ultimate Guide to Marketing Your Gym. If you would like me to ship you a free copy, just go to vincesfreebook.com and I will send one to you. And in the book is lots more marketing and money-making advice for you and your gym. All right? So hopefully you have a great rest of your day and you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much.